Something deep inside my body says you are more than enough. So don't give up. Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving on, yeah, yeah. Don't stop now. Don't give up. It's your time. Live your life. Give your love. Keep it high. Up above. It's your time. Live your life. Don't give up. Some days I wanna sail away when the going gets rough, when the going gets tough. Something deep inside my body says you are more than enough, so don't give up. Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving on, yeah.
G'day everyone, g'day.
Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving on, yeah. Keep it moving on, yeah.
Spittin Chips everybody, how's it going? Hope you all are well. Men, women, boys and girls, it's been an very interesting week. Definitely a overstimulation. If you've been following the news, the media and everything else, the financial markets, so it can be said a lot into that, overstimulation, and so that you are pinned down, you can't gather your thoughts and make decisive decisions. What you would do is most likely go to what you know and what you trust, and which is fine. That's good. The only problem is that there's a lot of other things happening in the world, and let's hopefully shine some light on that. Let's start with an old video. It's an oldie but a goodie. Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks for your time.
Very good to be with you, Brian, and good evening.
Now, you're a market economist.
Yes, well, most economists are market economists, Brian, to a degree these days, yes.
How do you think things are going at the moment?
Well, there's a great deal of international concern. I mean, we're taking a toweling, but things will sort themselves out, Brian. This is what a market does.
Well, can you explain to me how it all works?
How the economy works?
Well, yeah, what's the problem at the moment, for instance?
Well, what we've got at the moment is an international credit crisis.
Yes, how does that happen?
Well, I'm a bank, Brian, and I borrow money and I lend it out, and I charge more to the people I'm lending it to than I pay to the people from whom I'm borrowing it.
Well, who do you borrow money from?
Well, from, depositors, Brian. Have you got $1?
Well, yeah,
I
sure.
borrow your $1 and I give you, there's your bank balance.
$1.
$1.
Right, okay, and you pay interest to me on that?
I do, but I also charge you fees.
Well, why do you charge me fees?
Because, Brian, I'm looking after your money. Your money is secure with me. I'm a bank. I mean, this is a very important amount of money. This is probably your nest egg. It's safe with us.
And how much interest do you pay me?
Approximately the same as I'm charging you in fees.
Oh, good deal for me.
Well, your money's secure with us, Brian, and I then lend that money to businesses, and those businesses generate income. This is how we build an economy.
Yeah. And they put that income into the bank.
I do, of course, Brian, and that builds the savings pool, and we can invest more money.
Well, who do you lend that to?
Well, to people who need credit, Brian. You see, money creates more money. So if we can create money that creates more money, we're broadening the economy. We're expanding it all the time. Yes.
But shouldn't people just buy the can afford?
You don't need to afford the things you're buying, Brian. You need to afford the interest on the money you need to borrow in order to buy them.
And you're charging higher rates for all this?
We do hop into them a wee bit on the credit rate, Brian. We stick the hydraulics under that because it's a slightly higher risk strategy.
Do people need to be buying these things that they can't afford?
Obviously they think so, Brian. I mean, these things are advertised to people as very necessary, very important, and deeply, deeply attractive.
Well, who's advertising things that people don't need?
The companies we're lending the money to.
So, okay. Then you bought into the US subprime housing market.
Well, Brian, concerned are we to build a better Australia?
You helped build a worse America.
Yeah, well, that was an accident, Brian. What we were doing was investing in the international investment market.
And that's been a disaster.
It, frankly, famously hasn't been a huge success hitherto.
Well, so what are you going to do?
Well, now you give me $700 billion immediately.
Why?
Well, because we need it, Brian. I mean, the system needs money. Imagine the economy as a body. It needs blood pumping around it, Brian.
And you haven't got any?
We haven't got any money, no.
Well, why not?
Well, we lost ours. I've just been explaining that.
You're not having mine.
Mom! Brian won't let me play with his stuff.
It's the only one I've got.
So this is brilliant. If before we had digital money, you would recall it was all cash, and the way we used to move cash around was we had these trucks and protected armored vehicles. So the only chance we had of that money being stolen was either from robbery or counterfeit. So those are the main two ways. The costs were quite in depth because you would have these large facilities where they stored all this cash. You need to go through securities, and then you have the people that run the money, and there's expenses all within that. And then also there was the fees for, they had to have the ATM machines and keep them running and refill them all the time. And then there was the reprinting of the cash, but obviously that's supposed to be a government job. And then we have the actual tellers in the actual bank itself. So you would have a system of accountancy. It wasn't that sophisticated, but it was. And now we've obviously moved into a digital system. So where we're doing away with cash, and it seems to be Australia is the actual one of the major pushes for cash, a non-cash based economy, which is quite strange for me. Traveling to a number of places, I find myself asking the people in Australia, or do you take cash? Is cash okay? It's such a strange thing to say now, even at a shopping centre a few days ago. And it was an hour before close, and one of the tellers said, "Oh, sorry, it's card now." And for me, I was just shocked. Didn't know what to say. It's cash. Spending money here, and because of inflation, a few goods is more than $100 now. But I just couldn't believe it. You want to turn away $100 just because you've counted the till early or something similar to that. So we've moved into a digital society, and then the cost for that is that hacking and just running the programs. So there's the costs, but seem to be a fair few fees involved still. So there must be some costs we don't know about. But let's move into the next one. What's going on in the federal government? What really good stuff they've been doing lately?
It's one of the most popular platforms across the globe, but YouTube has been added to the government's world-leading teenage social media ban. The Prime Minister made the announcement alongside grieving parents, but YouTube is already fighting back.
Walking into Parliament carrying his heart and daughter in his hands, Rob Evans, like many other parents, wants change.
My Liv, she started looking at cooking videos, but then can quickly get taken down another rabbit warren, and the algorithm doesn't have the consequences that a parent does.
Popular platforms, Facebook, Twitter or X, Instagram, Snapchat and TikTok had already been identified to be banned for Australians under 16. Tonight, YouTube joining the list. YouTube Kids will still operate, and children will be able to watch videos, just not create an account.
And that prevents YouTube and Google from profiling that child and creating an understanding of that child and recommending them content.
There's no doubt that the safety of children has to come first.
Adults, including teachers, will be able to show videos. Gaming, messaging, health and educational platforms won't be restricted.
Parents want to get their kids off their devices and onto the playing fields. They want children to be able to enjoy their childhood, and that is what this is about.
A YouTube spokesperson insists the platform is not social media, while new advertisements are popping up online and on.
So you can see this is a complete breakdown of immersing ourselves into technology and the good habits we try to build from this, where again a government is stepped in. And the underlying issues here is that, firstly, you can only do a certain amount of things online now, and it's really, really reducing to a great degree. And now you wouldn't need KYC everywhere to do anything. And for users that don't know what KYC is, it's know your customer. It's a mandatory process for organizations, particularly financial institutes, verify the identity of their clients to detect and prevent financial crimes like money laundering, terrorism, financing, and fraud. It involves collecting and verifying customer information, assessing their roles profiles, risk profiles, and conducting ongoing monitoring to ensure compliance with regulations. and protect both the business and the customer. So what is actually happening now, and the federal government has just put this law in place, is that they're saying children and teens under a certain age, they can't access certain platforms, and they will have a KYC involved. So every single child now will be indoctrinated, and they'll be categorized, and all their information will be tracked, because they go to monitor and make sure this is all working properly. But the underlying thing is they're not talking about is every single person in Australia will be KYC'd, because they need to ensure that it's everybody. They can't. How do they know? It's just a teen that's going on there. Every single person needs to be categorized for them to know, okay, if you're older or under a certain age. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, you can still use the kids, you can still watch kids, but okay, is ads restricted? Is anything taken into that consideration? And more so, what they've done is that this is a way of reducing a freedom of speech. And it's personally like, well, at this stage, I'm going to meditate on a bit more though. Why would you ever say anything political online anymore? So all the stuff that's got to the point of there being large protests, so there'll be only certain protests that'd be allowed. You know, we all saw that during the lockdowns. Only certain protests were allowed. Yeah, and the other ones got beaten up by the police and criticised by everybody. So now we've literally gone full steam ahead to that. Certain information. And you could see underlying things that maybe they see something in the future that's coming, and they want to be able to censor the way that is delivered what is happening. There is obviously the other side of it, is that, yes, there is children out there that do progress down a track where they see stuff they shouldn't. But unfortunately, they're going to find a way. That's what children do. They find a way. And it all comes back to the parenting. Unfortunately, the model of the parents now is we'll let the school, the government, the state raise our children. There has been really good progresses in that a Scottish school, and I'm not sure of some American schools now, have policies where their mobile actually slides into a pouch, and it has a magnet, and they can't access their phone the whole time they're at school. Why can't we just simply do that? It's that simple. At school, boom. So they can't do anything at school. They focus on school. Why not? Parents got to do that at home as well. Okay, quiet time. We can simply just unplug the modem. There's actually a children's, and I get the algorithms. Yeah, it's all designed. But the thing is, if you don't teach someone from a young age how to deal with the algorithms, they're not going to deal with it when they're older. It's going to be worse. It's like a taboo, and then all of a sudden they'll get it from an older age. And if you don't teach them, hey, this is how you deal with this, they've designed these algorithms on your endorphins. They're targeting certain sensories. So this is what's happening to you. If you explain it to them, they'll know what's going on. Anyway, let's move on. So there's a lot of stuff happening at the moment, and the government's denied it, but I couldn't find the short video for you guys. That was having thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs that's speculated to be going to Indians to come in as skilled migrants. So this, and there was a march, obviously, that was labelled both ways. One was Australian patriotic, and the other way was neo-Nazis, whatever it may be, discriminative, racists. And now, but the underlying thing that we're getting across, the majority of people, and I don't deny there's probably some radicals, but the majority of people were saying, look, we need to reduce migration, we need to do it now, because things are going crazy, but I'll talk about that later on, why we might be racking the old immigration up to full steam, maximise while we can. But this is just what's happening, and it's taken our context, and that's how the majority of people in this country are now being labelled a certain way, and it just doesn't stop. It escalates and escalates. So this is in subtitles, so you're going to have to look at the video.
வெள்ளக்காரங்க ஒன்னா சேர்ந்து இந்த இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் மாதிரி கம்யூனிட்டிஸ்ல எங்க நாட்டுக்குள்ள வராதீங்க, தேவையில்லாம எங்க ஊரை வந்து நாஸ்தி செய்யாதீங்க, நீங்க வர்றதுனால எங்களுக்கு நிறைய பிரச்சனை தான் இருக்குது, எங்களுக்கு பிரயோஜனம் இருக்கிறத விட, அதனால நீங்க எல்லாம் வெளியே போங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ராங்கா ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய ப்ரொடெஸ்ட ஆஸ்திரேலியால மட்டும் இல்ல நிறைய இடங்கள்ல நடந்திருக்குது. பட் ரீசெண்டா நடந்தது ஆஸ்திரேலியால ரொம்ப பெருசா நடந்திருக்குது. நம்ம எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், ரீசெண்ட் டைம்ஸ்ல இந்த ட்ரம்ப் வந்த டயத்துல இருந்தே இந்தியா மாதிரி இருக்கக்கூடிய கண்ட்ரீஸ் மேல வந்து ஒரு வன்மத்தை இந்த வெள்ளக்காரங்க கக்குறதுங்கிறது உலக அளவுல கொஞ்சம் அதிகமாயிட்டு இருக்குது. இந்த வீடியோ நிறைய பேர் வந்து வெளிநாட்டுல இருந்து பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பீங்க. நம்ம தமிழ் பேசக்கூடிய கம்யூனிட்டிஸே வந்து வேர்ல்டு ஃபுல்லா இந்த ஒரு வீடியோ நான் போஸ்ட் பண்ணேன்னா அது மோர் தென் 180 கண்ட்ரீஸ்ல பாக்குறீங்க. அப்போ உலகம் ஃபுல்லா தமிழர்கள் இருக்கும். சோ நம்ம கம்யூனிட்டிஸ், நம்மளோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ், நம்மளோட ஃபேமிலி வெளிநாட்டுக்கு வேலை பார்க்க போறவங்களையே டைரக்டா இங்க எல்லாம் நீங்க வராதீங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நடக்கக்கூடிய ப்ரொடெஸ்ட் வந்து இந்த வெள்ளக்காரங்க ரீசெண்ட் டைம்ல ட்ரம்ப் ஆட்சிக்கு வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் அமெரிக்கால மட்டும் இல்லாம குளோபலா நடத்திட்டு இருக்காங்க. அதுல இப்போ ரீசெண்டா ஆஸ்திரேலியால நீங்க நம்ப மாட்டீங்க நம்பர்ஸ், மோர் தென் 50,000 பீப்புள் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு edition.cnnல சொல்றாங்க. மோர் தென் 50,000 பீப்புள் ஆஸ்திரேலியா ஃபுல்லா வேற வேற இடத்துல, சிட்னில, பிரிஸ்பேன்ல, மெல்போர்ன்ல, பெர்த்ல, கேன்பரால, ஹோபார்ட்ல, தெரியல ப்ரொனன்சியேஷன் வாட் எவர் இட் இஸ், ஹாபர்ட் வாட் எவர், அந்த ஊர்கள் எல்லாம் வந்து இத்தனை பேர் ஓகேவா, ஆயிரக்கணக்கான ஆஸ்திரேலியன் ஒயிட்ஸ் ஓகேவா வெளியே வந்து இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் மாதிரி கம்யூனிட்டிஸை டார்கெட் பண்ணி வெளியே போங்க, நீங்க வர்றதுனால எங்க ஊர்ல வந்து எல்லா விலைவாசி ஏறிடுச்சு, நீங்க வர்றதுனால எங்களுக்கு வீடு ரெண்ட் அதிகமாயிடுச்சு அப்படி இப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய ப்ரொடெஸ்ட் நடத்தியிருக்காங்க. அண்ட் இன்னைக்கு வீடியோல இந்த ப்ரொடெஸ்ட்டை பத்தி நம்ம டீடைல்டா பார்க்க போறோம். ஏன் ரீசன்ட் டைம்ஸ்ல இந்த இந்தியர்கள் மேல இருக்கிற வன்மம் வந்து இந்த வெள்ளக்காரங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் அதிகமாயிட்டு இருக்குது, ஏன் இப்படி எல்லாம் பேசிட்டு இருக்காங்க, இவங்க நாடெல்லாம் இன்னைக்கு முன்னேறிய நாடா இருக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு முக்கியமான காரணம் நம்ம இன்னைக்கு நேத்துக்கு இல்ல, இந்த பிரிட்டிஷர்ஸ் ஆட்சி செஞ்ச காலகட்டத்தில இருந்தே இவங்க ஊருக்கெல்லாம் நம்ம வந்து சுகர் கேன் வெட்டுறதுக்கு போன காலகட்டத்தில இருந்து நம்ம வந்து இந்த கண்ட்ரிஸ் எல்லாத்தையுமே நம்ம பில்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். இந்த வெள்ளக்கார நாடுகளே பாத்தீங்கன்னா முதல்ல ஒரிஜினலா அங்க இவங்க இருந்த நாடே கிடையாது, இவங்களே வெள்ளக்காரங்களே அங்க போய் ஆக்கியூபை பண்ண நாடுகள் தான். ஆனா இந்த நாட்டுல இருக்கக்கூடிய இவங்க வந்து அமெரிக்கா பாத்தீங்கன்னா வெள்ளக்காரங்களோடது கிடையாது, ஆஸ்திரேலியா வெள்ளக்காரங்களோடது கிடையாது. நீங்க ஹிஸ்டாரிக்கலா பாத்தீங்கன்னா இது எல்லாமே இமிகிரண்ட் சொசைட்டிஸ் தான். ஆனா இந்த இடத்துல இருக்கக்கூடிய இமிகிரண்ட் சொசைட்டில இருக்கிற இதே வெள்ளக்காரங்க அடுத்து இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் வர்றப்ப ஏன் இவ்வளவு நெகட்டிவா ரியாக்ட் பண்றாங்க? அண்ட் ஆஸ்திரேலியால என்ன நடந்துச்சு, தள்ளுமுள்ளெல்லாம் ஏற்பட்டிருக்குங்க, சில பேர் ரத்தத்தோட எல்லாம் பார்க்க முடியுது, என்ன நடந்திருக்கு அப்படிங்கறத எல்லாத்தையும் இன்னைக்கு வீடியோல நான் டீடைலா சொல்ல போறேன். பட் அதை பார்க்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஆல்வேஸ் வேர்ல்டு ஃபுல்லா என்ன நடக்குதுங்கிறத நீங்க ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா 10 நிமிஷத்துல தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னு நினைச்சீங்கன்னா மதன் கௌரி சேனலை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. அண்ட் ரீசன்ட் டைம்ஸ்ல எனக்கு ரொம்ப பாசிட்டிவா இருக்கிற ஒரு விஷயம் நீங்க இதை ஹலோ மை டியர். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் விஷயம் என்ன அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஆஸ்திரேலியால என்ன நடந்துருச்சுன்னு நான் சொல்றேன். இதை இந்தியன் கவர்மெண்ட் வரைக்கும் ரியாக்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. 31st ஆகஸ்ட் 2025 அப்போல இருந்தே எனக்கு நிறைய பேர் இன்ஸ்டாகிராம்ல இந்த டிஎம்ல இந்த வீடியோஸ் அனுப்பிச்சு பேசுன்னு கேட்டுட்டு இருந்தீங்க. எனக்கு என்னன்னா இது வந்து ஒரு ஆஃப் ப்ரொடெஸ்டா இல்ல பெருசா நடக்குதா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கொஞ்சம் டைம் ஆச்சு. நான் உண்மையை சொல்லிக்கிறேன், என்ன நடந்துச்சுன்னு கொஞ்சம் கேதர் பண்றதுக்கு. பட் ரிசர்ச் பண்ணி முடிக்கிறப்ப தான் தெரியுது 52,400 பீப்புள் ஓகேவா மொத்தம் ஆஸ்திரேலியா ஃபுல்லா அந்த ப்ரொடெஸ்ட்ல இறங்கி இருக்காங்க. அண்ட் கிட்டத்தட்ட 5,000 பீப்புள் வந்து சிட்னில மட்டுமே, ஒரு சிட்டில மட்டுமே வந்து வந்திருக்காங்கன்னு சொல்லப்படுது. இந்த சிட்னிங்கிற ஊர்ல நிறைய இந்தியன்ஸ் வாழக்கூடிய ஊரு. இவங்க எல்லாம் என்ன சொல்லி வந்தாங்க, எதுக்கு இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் மாதிரி இமிகிரண்ட்ஸை வர வேணாங்கிறாங்கன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா முதல்ல இது என்னன்னு சொல்லிடுறேன். இந்த ப்ரொடெஸ்ட்டுக்கு பேரே என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா மார்ச் ஃபார் ஆஸ்திரேலியா அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு பேர் கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. ஆஸ்திரேலியாக்கான ஒரு நடை அப்படிங்கிறது தான் இதோட பேரு. இந்த மார்ச் ஃபார் ஆஸ்திரேலியா வந்து 31st ஆகஸ்ட் 2025 நடந்திருக்குது. மெயினா நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி சிட்னி, மெல்போர்ன், பிரிஸ்பேன், பெர்த், கேன்பரா இங்கெல்லாம் தான் வந்து நடந்திருக்குது ஓகேவா. எதுக்காக அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா protesters demand an end to what they called mass immigration, citing pressure on resources and concerns about social cohesion. So பேசிக்கா இந்த வெளிநாட்டுக்காரங்க எல்லாம் உள்ளுக்குள்ள வர இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ், சைனீஸ் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ், எஸ்பெஷலி அவங்க டார்கெட் பண்றது இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ். அது ஏங்கிறத நான் அடுத்து சொல்றேன். ஆஸ்திரேலியன் பார்லிமெண்ட்ல வந்து ஒரு இந்தியன் ஒருத்தவங்க பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா பேசியிருந்தாங்க, ஒரு லேடி ரெப்ரசன்டேட்டிவ், அதை பத்தி நான் அப்புறம் சொல்றேன். சோ இவங்க என்ன மேட்டர்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா இங்க இருக்கிற வெள்ளக்காரங்க என்ன நினைக்கிறாங்கன்னா, எங்க நாடு நல்லா இருந்துச்சு, இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் மாதிரி அது அதிகமான ஆஸ்திரேலியாவோட செகண்ட் ஹையஸ்ட் மைக்ரண்ட் கம்யூனிட்டி வந்து இந்தியன்ஸ் தான். சோ இந்த இந்தியன் கம்யூனிட்டி மாதிரி ஆட்கள் உள்ள வர ஒரு வீடு வந்து ரெண்ட் ஏறிடுது, நாங்க வாங்குற ப்ராடக்ட்ஸோட ரெண்ட் ஏறிடுது, ஏன்னா ரிசோர்சஸ் கம்மியா இருக்குது. லைக் வீடு வந்து 100 இருக்குன்னா 100 தான் இருக்குது. ஆனா நீங்க திடீர்னு 1000 பேரை உள்ள இறக்குறப்போ இந்த வீடு எல்லாம் வந்து ரெண்ட் ஏத்தி விட்டுறாங்க. சப்ளை டிமாண்ட்ல வந்து சப்ளை கம்மியா இருக்குது, டிமாண்ட் அதிகமாயிடுச்சு, திடீர்னு நிறைய பேர் வர்றதுனால விலை ஏத்தி விட்டுறாங்க. இதனால வந்து இவங்க எல்லாம் வெளியே போகணும், இவங்களெல்லாம் வந்து வெளியே போகணுங்கிறது வந்து ஒரு ஆங்கிள், ஒரு குரூப் சொல்றாங்க. இன்னொரு குரூப் என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணணும், இவங்க எல்லாத்தையுமே வந்து நீங்க மறுபடியும் ரெகுலேட் பண்ணணும், இவங்க இவ்வளவு பேர் உள்ள வரக்கூடாது, வர்றதை தடுத்து நிறுத்துங்க அப்படின்னு ஒரு குரூப் சொல்றாங்க. ஏன்பா இப்படிலாம் சொல்றீங்க, உங்களுக்கு உண்மையிலே ப்ரூஃப் இருக்கா இதெல்லாம் பேக்கப் பண்றதுக்குன்னு கேட்டா, ஒரு நிமிஷத்துக்கு 1000 பேர் வெளிநாட்டுல இருந்து ஆஸ்திரேலியன்ஸா வந்து மாறி
Okay, so that's enough of that. I've had enough. It's not surprising how you would take one context where it's clearly stated, and he states it himself, about mass migration. There is not at all ever a labeling of any ethnic group, but he wants to identify it as Indians and Chinese and say there's just these people, white people in Australia only target Indians, and now they're targeting Indians, and Indians are what make the world amazing, and the white people here have no right to say they can stop this migration. Yeah. So in West Australia, the first Sikh PM, Dr. Pravinder, this person right here. So she did this address to Parliament.
Honourable members, it was not long ago when I gave my inaugural speech in which I shared a very personal story of my son asking me that, Mama, are you really a member of Parliament now? And the question that he raised, do you want the book as well, was that I don't look like an Australian. That question not only broke my heart, but it was really concerning, not because of his doubt, but because of the reality behind it. A child who's born in Australia, who has been raised here and who's excelling in every dimension in this country, still wonders if his mother belongs here. Still wonders if his face, his skin color, his story counts as an Australian enough. And last week, on the 31st of October, angry voices in our streets screamed the same question: who belongs? Pointing their fingers at migrants, at people like me, at families like mine, and millions of Australians who, in the eyes of just a very few, do not fit the stereotype. And we've heard by some very followed personalities, members of Parliament, like Senator Price, as well as people in this chamber leading those rallies, asking the question, and there has been a debate that has come up as if it is a contest that who's been in this country for how many generations, and that makes us more Australians. So I thought I'll share a fun fact with the House today. As per the DNA evidence, and it goes back to not just a few generations, but approximately 141 generations, when the people and the community who were targeted, particularly just because of the numbers of migration in this country, which is my community, the South Asian community or the Indian community in general, whose genes have been integrated in the very first people of this nation. And it's not just one, there's some really good evidences. I would like to table these for all of you guys to have a look, that have been provided by the science and the DNA, that it's approximately 4,000 years back, if you go back, that was migration from India to Australia happened. And some Aboriginal Australians carry up to 11% of their ancestry from those migrants. And this coincided with the arrival of the dingoes and the tools that were just not binding our histories long before the Europeans set foot here. And even further back, the southern route out of Africa saw our South Asian forefathers share deep ancestral roots with the first peoples of this land. So I think we need to stop this debate right here, that who is more Australian and how do we define that? Because if you're looking for evidence, that evidence is very, very clear. Yeah.
So there you go, guys. There you go. We have the new first Australian people. It's now all the Indians. When is the gaslighting going to stop? And when is the racism going to stop? Is it taboo just to call it out now? You can't question anything. You can't say anything. And it just surprises me, because why do you want to be in this country? This country is pretty amazing, yeah? And also, what was a child asking? What is a child really asking? Maybe how young is her child? Why do we always need to dig into something when there was a clear message that unfortunately she wouldn't raise, and what she's proposing is open the floodgates and bring more in. There's not an issue. Why do we have to always bring up ethnicity? Why is it always that? What is the culture of Australia more?
Thank you very much for your time tonight.
It's my great pleasure to be with you. Good
Now,
evening.
you're an economist working in the banking sector, yeah?
I am. Should I get a lawyer? I think I'm entitled to legal representation if we're going to discuss my work.
No, this is just a few simple questions. Don't
Simple
worry.
questions? How simple?
Well, they're theoretical.
Theoretical. I can deal, okay, we can deal with that. I mean, don't hold me to the answers, but...
Why not?
Well, because I'm an economist and I can think of a different set of circumstances under which my responses might vary somewhat.
And everything's connected to everything else, isn't it?
In economics, I'm afraid that is the global fear right at the moment. Yes.
Now, right, there's a lot of uncertainty in world economics, isn't
There
there?
is a great deal of uncertainty and a lack of confidence.
Yeah,
Yes.
and there's a lot of talk of quantitative easing.
Quantitative
That's a term
easing,
we hear
yes.
all the time.
That's a term you hear a lot at the moment, yes.
Yeah, what exactly is quantitative easing?
Well, I can answer this because actually we're advising a couple of governments about this right at the moment.
And what are you saying to them?
Well, perhaps I should just take you through what we're telling them to do.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I won't go into a lot of detail.
No,
That'll
that's
be
good.
indiscreet, but this will give you an idea of how quantitative
Off you
easing
go.
works.
Yep.
Take printer out of box and place on table with the out tray facing the window.
The out tray facing the window.
That's right. Load paper into the paper receptacle and place currency on glass tray F.
Right.
Check alignment by printing out a test page.
Right.
Go into copy settings and select double-sided and the number of copies you require.
How many would you suggest?
In the case of one of our clients, it's 80 billion, 120 billion in the case of another client, and one client wants 1 trillion of these things.
Can you get printers to do that?
No, you can't. You're going to need a bank of them. I mean, it's a
You need some
multi-printer
big
job.
ones, wouldn't you?
Big industrial strength.
Yeah.
Big like a Bofors gun, all facing the window.
Yeah.
Once you've ascertained that you have the alignment correct, you alert the banking sector, open the window and press copy.
And stand well back.
Yes, you've got to stand well back because they can create a bit of a vacuum while reaching cruising height.
Whereabouts?
In the super fund industry very often.
And you'd have to consider the wind direction too, wouldn't
you don't want to be doing this upwind.
No, because you get covered in pretend money, couldn't you?
Covered in what?
Pretend money.
No, this is not pretend money. This is real currency we're creating.
But aren't you just printing it off? I mean, these are photocopies, aren't they?
Excuse me. Dave, this is not going to work. Because I've just explained it to a bloke and he saw through it.
These are from 13 years ago, guys. Little comedies, little skits that used to go on the television. For all those people that don't know, majority or a large scale of exports in Australia is from the mineral sector. And that's done through mining, and you have to do the FIFO industry, which is fly in, fly out. So workers will go to a mine site, they will live there for a period of time, then come back. And it's probably portrayed, I've seen a few videos and a few people talking about this amazing place to go. For people overseas, it might be amazing. Could you chop in, get a bit of work and then leave? But for us Australians, it started off when we would do 4 weeks and then 1 week home. And you could do up to 6 weeks away and 1 week home. And then they've moved towards more family-friendly rosters, as they say, where you're away for maybe 2 weeks and home for 1 week. And the reason those have come in was because of the unions. They said this, the divorce rates and suicides were getting too big. And this is just someone talking about it.
You make a lot of money in FIFO, but you're there 24 hours of the day. So if you actually do your hourly rate, it's not actually that good. It's actually below minimum wage. Because you're there 24. Because even though you do your 12-hour shift, what else are you going to do? No, there's nothing you can do. But when I was working in FIFO, I'd get up at 3 a.m., go to the gym, stop your shift at 5, finish at 5 p.m, and then I'd just hop on role plays, sales role plays. When I joined FIFO the first 6 months, I didn't really know about the online space. Start posting these videos, and then I was like, I need to get out of this. You can see the guys there, and I feel for them. Like, it's not like I'm having to go with them or nothing, but it's like they're just trapped. People think.
So quantitative easing. What is quantitative easing? It's an injection into the financial system, because of several instances where the economy is slowing down. And this is said to be a recession, stagflation. So here's our next bout of QE.
The return of Parliament today with an announcement that all first home buyers will be able to buy with just a 5% deposit from October. It is bringing forward the election promise by 3 months in a bid to get more young people into the housing market sooner. The Prime Minister says the scheme, paired with the pausing of the National Construction Code, will make an enormous difference. But the opposition is sceptical. Our political reporter, Nicole Hegarty, joins us now from Parliament House. Nicole, what are the details on this?
Good morning, Gemma. Well, as you say, this was an election commitment, but it was slated for January of next year. That will now be brought forward to start in October, and the eligibility expanded. So the income thresholds have been removed, and from October, all first home buyers will be able to access this scheme where they only need to secure a 5% deposit on their first property, with the government agreeing to go guarantor on the remaining 15% to meet that 20% threshold to avoid having to pay lenders' mortgage insurance, which is an additional cost when somebody is trying to purchase a home, which can actually amount to tens of thousands of dollars as well. So the income thresholds removed. So irrespective of how much you earn, if you're a first home buyer, you can access this scheme. Also the affordability challenge.
What it does is make sure that we get more people into the market, and the full suite of measures that we're doing is about increased supply. More supply makes a difference for affordability as well.
Now, Gemma,
there's no supply. We've already established there's no supply. There's going to be less supply. They're going to be bringing in more immigration. It's already picked up for this year. It's bigger. It's more than last year. And now I feel for younger generations because they've been priced out of the market. Unless you got intergenerational wealth, you're no chance of getting in, because now the median price of Australia is $1 million, something like that, $1 million, just over $1 million. So now what you've got is you've got the government that's come in. They scrapped a 20%. They've scrapped the 20% deposit. So it's not bad enough that you still need 20% deposit to buy a house. That shows a lot about the economy, because there used to be like around 10% or something like that. I believe at one stage earlier on it was 5% deposit. That's how healthy the economy was. So now let's say the average medium house is $1 million, right? So 20% deposit is 200,000, yeah? But now they're saying that you only need 5% of that 20%. So that's $50,000. So if someone wants to buy $1 million house, they only need $50,000 now. And the government will cough up $150,000 for them. Think of that, it was thousands of people trying to buy their first homes. And it's not just Australians. Like, I'm not sure how much they're going to open this up to, but if it's thousands of people, and we're not even told how the guarantor is done. Is the guarantor done that we have some kind of investment? Has the Bank of Australia, the Commonwealth Bank, has it been buying up gold? What guarantor does the Australia have for that 15%, $150,000 for every single person to buy a house? What is the guarantor? And what happens if the prices go down? It can always happen. I personally have lived for 3 times house prices have gone down. So what happens in the economy if the house prices go down? And the Australian government, so just clarify, you and I are guarantoring that with our tax dollars. That's who's guarantoring. You're virtually giving whatever ratio it is, you're pitching into that $150,000. Now, what they're saying, this is great, more people in the market. We're going to get more people in the market. Now, if you slow down migration a bit, maybe that might help, might relieve a bit. So immigration is going to pick up even more. You're going to have this mass stimulus. You have these new people in the market. And now we're not even talking about trends. There's market trends. There's all types of market trends, and there's housing trends as well. So you got these prices just going up and up and up and up. Concerning. Just livening up a bit, eh?
Oh, he's going to kill it. He's going to kill it.
He's going to kill it.
He
I
killed it.
believe that's a honey badger.
Has he killed it?
Or
Yes.
something similar.
He stood on it. Now what is he going to do?
It's bitten.
It's what?
It did
Bitten.
bite the back leg.
Did it?
Ah, shit.
Oh no.
Damage the elephant's back leg?
Oh,
yeah.
leg is
damaged. Oh, that's. Oh.
They're so strong. They will recover.
The elephant. Wow.
Then how did he come?
It's all right. We're watching. It's okay. I should get away.
It's up and going again.
No. Oh, well done, kids. Get mine.
Oh, yeah, he's had it now.
Yeah. What a silly. Yeah. Oh, no.
Watch for this one.
Yes, you're a clever boy.
Still going for it.
Go away. Come on, go.
How hard is that thing, eh? Chasing
Oh,
after an elephant.
extraordinary. Look at this.
That's courage.
And it's still going. You've done enough.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Right. Energy market. Black from Clarkendall.
Around government policy.
Oh, yes, there's overarching government policy.
Well, tell me, what's the government policy?
Well, oh, goodness.
What happened there?
Well, just wait till the lights come on, Brian, and then perhaps ask me that last one again.
Which one?
The one about government policy. I'll try and imagine there is some.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure to be with you, Brian. Good evening.
Now, you're a consultant in the energy market.
Yes, indeed. That's what I do.
Now, we've got a crisis in energy, haven't we? The Prime Minister's been waving a yellow card all week.
Well, Brian, we do face some significant issues with the energy market. I think that can be said.
Yeah, but I thought we had gas and electricity coming out our ears.
Yeah, we do, Brian. But I don't think it's any secret that we're confronting serious challenges with the energy market.
Well, let's talk about this energy market.
Well, in Australia, you buy energy on an energy market. You're either buying it at a spot price or you're buying it in terms of a longer contractual agreement, Brian, with a supplier.
But didn't all the energy in this country, wasn't it owned by the Australian people?
Yeah, we fixed that.
Well, it was all owned by governments. I mean, they built it with our money.
Yes, that's right, Brian, but it was hopelessly inefficient. And a few years ago, a lot of it was privatised.
Who said it was hopelessly inefficient?
The people who wanted to buy it, Brian.
How'd they sell that idea to the people who already owned it?
Well, it was obviously going to result in lower prices to the consumer, Brian, because there were so many other players coming into the market.
More electricity producers?
No, more billing companies, Brian. But the key element was choice. They were being offered a greater choice.
Choice of what?
Choice of what?
Yeah.
No, the what's were exactly the same, Brian. The choice was in who you could buy them from.
So who bought the infrastructure?
Well, a lot of that is still government owned. If you take the state of Victoria, for example, still government owned.
Owned by the Victorian government?
No, owned by the Singapore government and the Chinese government, Brian. But to answer your question, it's still government owned.
So why did the prices go through the roof? I mean, what happened when they removed the carbon tax to lower prices? What happened?
What happened to prices?
Yeah.
Well, they doubled, Brian. But of course, that's only going to affect you if you're buying energy.
But isn't that what people are doing, buying energy in the market?
Well, yes, theoretically, Brian, but you can only buy it if it's there. You can't buy it if it's not there. And remember, a lot of these outages have occurred at times of serious, extreme weather events.
Yeah, but wouldn't an extreme weather event be a fair test of the system?
Yeah, we don't have a system, Brian.
We have an energy market.
We've got an energy market.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's gas got to do with this?
Oh, gas is important because the job of the regulator, Brian, when demand goes through the roof, is to generate extra capacity using gas.
How do they do that?
Well, they don't, Brian. They can't. They haven't got any gas.
But we export billions of dollars of gas.
That's right. But by definition, that's exported, Brian. That's gone offshore. We need some of that gas here.
But they get a better price for exporting.
They get a better price here. It's a market, Brian. This is part of the problem.
But surely all this operates in around government policy.
Oh, yes. There's overarching government policy.
Well, tell me, what's the government policy?
Well, goodness.
What happened there?
Well, just wait till the lights come on, Brian, and then perhaps ask me that last one again.
Which one?
The one about government policy. I'll try and imagine there is some.
Just brilliant comedy. All right, so this is from the DFA. This is a little rant, but it really summarises what's going up, what's going on, and it gives you a chance to grasp what's going on in Australia and the status and trajectory we're heading.
In my point, I sort of said who broke the economy, or why is it where it is, or what broke the economy. The who and the what's, of course, all connected. And somebody in the chat said, well, is it just the politicians? I don't think it's just the politicians, but I do think they have a policy failure over 40 years. And if you go back 40 odd years and just think what the economy used to be like, Australia had a very strong economy. The GDP was very strong. The story, of course, was that migrants would come and find that it was an amazing place to be because it was very friendly and it was very open and things were so cheap and, the boom, boom, boom. And then suddenly, well, it's been going, and over the last few years, the rate of slowing is pretty dramatic. House prices, of course, are strangling everything. More and more of the economy is housing because everything else is just disappearing, partly because of energy. We might come onto that too, of course. And so you got to sort of stand back and think, well, is it deliberate? Has it been a deliberate set of things that people have done over the last 20, 30, 40 years, or is it just happenstance? My theory is, no, it's not just events, dear boy, events. There were a series of decisions that were taken and are being taken, which is leading us into the dirt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there is more to point a stick at. So you obviously have the, I guess, deregulation of the financial system, which part of that was good, but the sort of the turning everything into a speculative asset. So whether that's through the tax system with negative gearing and capital gains taxes and all the stuff we did there, and the financialization of housing. You've also got obviously the massive ramp up in immigration, the notion that the mining boom in the early to mid 2000s also gave us a massive case of Dutch disease, whereby the Australian currency went up to above parity with the United States, and that basically shrunk the manufacturing sector. And then we've doubled down on that with idiotic energy policies, which have basically driven up the cost of gas and electricity in Australia, despite the fact that we're massive exporters of energy. Just crazy stuff. And that's also deindustrialized us as a nation and added to cost of living and all these sorts of things. So yeah, there's a whole series of basically mess ups that has happened over the last 30 to 40 years, and it's turned us, like you said, from a affordable land of milk and honey with a fairly diversified economy. We actually had a manufacturing industry back then, to one that's basically been totally deindustrialized and has turned into a Ponzi economy that is reliant on never-ending rises in house prices, more and more government spending, and just mass immigration to try and get headline GDP, growing while per capita living standards collapse. So unfortunately, yeah, a lot of it is self-inflicted, and I think some of it's also just poor management of the early 2000s commodity boom that happened, and not saving the bounty, like not taxing mineral wealth properly as well. So we've become far too reliant on inefficient areas of tax and inequitable things like just forever taxing workers more and more, rather than taxing resources and consumption and land and those sorts of things that are more efficient and also more equitable. We should be the richest nation on earth, really, when you think about it. Especially at the turn of the century, we had 19 million people sitting on this enormous landmass. And then in the early 2000s, we were kissed on the backside with this absolutely ginormous surge in our commodity prices in terms of trade. And that should have made us uber rich. Like, we're back then, by the time that came around, we were, less than 20 million people. And we suddenly got this huge pay rise as a nation, whereby everything we sold to the rest of the world just went up, and we got all this extra money. And the federal government didn't capture that correctly because we don't tax that stuff properly. But also the money that we did get through the soaring corporate taxes and things like that, the government just, weeded up against the wall and didn't save it. and we didn't set up a sovereign wealth fund, and we didn't do all this other stuff we should have done, like Norway did. And instead, we decided to massively ramp up immigration, and we went from a post-war average for 60 years of 90,000 net overseas migration to, in the 15 years leading up to the pandemic, 220,000 a year. And then the last 5 years, including the COVID border closures and the period of negative net overseas migration, the last 5 years, well, the 5 years to the end of last year, we averaged 260,000 net overseas migration. So we haven't taxed any of our mineral wealth properly, at the same time as we've grown the population like a science experiment, grown by 8.7 million people this century. And that's just diluted our mineral wealth even more. And it's effectively made us poorer per person, which is just stupid. Like, when you think about it, what we could have done if we had smarter leaders and actual visionaries is we could have actually banked the bounty from this, enormous commodity boom that we had, and set up a sovereign wealth fund like Norway has, and tax the stuff properly, and not growing the population so aggressively. So that sovereign wealth fund would have been worth far more per person, and we'd be in a far better state now. And, then of course, we got all the mess ups we've done with housing and all these other areas as well. So really, it's just been, 25 years at least of absolute policy failure in this country, which has basically got us to the situation we're at, where we're basically this stagnating economy with some of the world's worst productivity growth that is basically just growing off the back of running one of the world's biggest immigration programs per capita, and becoming more and more relying on government spending to power jobs and to power growth. And it's just, none of this is sustainable. And now the government is trying to basically kickstart the economy by pumping up house prices, because that's, supposedly worked the last 20 odd years. So I think, well, we'll go back to the playbook that we've done the last 20 years that has actually made us a worse nation and poorer in a structural sense. And we'll just keep the throttle in immigration. We'll, reflate house prices, etc. And that is supposed to make us wealthier. It hasn't worked for the last 20 years, but these clowns that run this country think that we can magically turn things around and become a successful nation again at the same time as we drive up energy costs. It's just clown show stuff, Martin.
Yeah, and the old
This was a great stream from these two. It was a lot of graphs to visualize from and get a clear indication of what's happening in the country. But just to summarize it, there's possibly a great possibility of some financially tough times ahead, purely because if we look at it, similar economies such as New Zealand and Canada, their house prices have dropped and they're already going through a small recession. And those two have very similar economies to ours, whereas Canada's more so, even more similar to ours. They also did the mass immigration. So high probability, another small boom in the housing market, and then after that, what is there? What other levers do you pull? I thought the actual housing market was going to fall in 2019 or just after 2019, just after the shutdowns and opening back up. I literally thought it was going to crash then. And little did I know, and someone dear to me, I was telling her it's going to pull back, because how can you keep giving out free cash to everybody? And there's no productivity. The whole place is shut down. We have to go into a recession, and they pulled the immigration lever. So they're pulling it again now. And why are they pulling it right now? Our GDP's buggered. There's no growth, and they're trying to get the M2 flowing. So your money supply. We're not exporting is could be said to slowing down. China's into a rough spot. They also got the minerals from other countries now, such as Africa. Major iron ores opening up. There's instabilities in the world. The war in Ukraine is still ongoing, or did we forget about that one? And now there's trying to be a World War III kicked off. And if you didn't know, India, China, and Russia have partnered up because they don't like it where the direction of Israel and America is heading, as well as Europe. So I hope we haven't got hard times ahead, but it's certainly indicating of it. Because how can prices go up forever? They can't. The tax system hasn't been reformed. If you get a pay rise, you get taxed even more. So you're not making more in the end. You're just paying more tax. You can't get ahead. It doesn't matter how much they raise you. And then the prices will continue going up. And on top of that, rents will going up. Yes, they're going to give you the 5,000, the 15% guarantor. So what was that? That I said 150,000. The government's going to, us the taxpayers are going to go into 150,000 when they just find 50,000. But still, you do the repayments on that loan. You got to do the repayments on that loan, and what is it sitting out at the moment? What happens if it goes back up to 6% or 8%? In how many years ago was it? Was it 15 or 20, 30 years ago? Was it 30 years ago? Went all the way up to the high 20s. So you normally these people that actually get into the market now can't afford it because of how they've been assessed. But now they are. And look, if you can get in, I commend you. Get in, get a house. Well done. But we're not assessing the way we did before. And we're throwing out interest-free loans left, right, and center, so you're not paying down your principal. So you got to hope the price goes up. You need the price to go up because you're just paying interest only. It's good if you want a place to live. You don't have to get mucked around by renting. But if you buy in, and it's interest only, you're not paying down the principal, and interest rates go up. My gosh. Just something recently. I don't know if you know, but there was the ANU, the Reforming Australia's Migration System, September 2025. So literally just this month. And it was authored by the experts like Professor Alan Gamlin and Dr. Peter McDonald from the ANU Migration Hub. They just released statistics now stating only 12% of the permanent places for the skilled visa holders. So 12% of the 100% is actually skilled. The rest is actually family reunion visas. 60% is family reunion visas. 20 to 25% is offshore and transitions, and the rest is humanitarian and special categories. Only 12% of the supposed skilled visas. So there's argument about we need to open and like, look, I'm all about immigration 100% when we can support it. But there's this pushback, and they're saying we're targeting, so you can't question the Indian communities. But only 12% are actually, and that's not just the 12% from India, it's everywhere, every single nation in the world. Out of all those skilled migrant visas, only 12% are actually skilled. And now, are those 12% actually the actual skills we need? Oh, we got to keep the house Ponzi going. Let's take you on the investment side of things because it's all going to hard times, and you need to have diversification in your portfolio. If you have any savings at all, it's probably a good idea not to have it all in cash. And I'll show you why now. Can you hear that? Okay. This is the fear and greed, and this is the index for the global investment market, and they're at greed now. It's currently 63. It's at greed. So the previous close was greed. 1 week ago was neutral. 1 month ago greed, neutral. So we're very much in like a frenzy. The US has literally just reduced their interest rates again. So availability, liquidity is increased. So the greed is increasing all through the world. On the crypto, that's just still neutral, but moving towards the greed. And on CoinMarketCap, it's showing neutral as well, but you can see the trend here. It could be, it's actually progressing up. So progressing into the greed. So we'll see how it progresses, but yeah, it's definitely could be an extreme greed. Let's look at the global market for crypto, and you can see the main players here. Still, number 1 is Bitcoin, number 2 is Ethereum. Bitcoin is at this is the US dollars, 117,665. Ethereum is at 4,600 odd. XRP, $3.11. And that's at number 3. 4 is stable, USDT. 5 BNB is at 905. Solana number 6 is at $249. USDC is at 7. 8 is Doge at 28 cents. Cardano is at 9.80. ADA is at 92 cents, and the Tron's at number 10 with 35 cents. A few other significant ones is Chainlink at 12 at 24 cents, $24. Sui's at 13 at $9, $3.90. Avalanche is at number 14 at $33. Stellar XLM is at number 17, ranked number 17 at 40 cents. Hedera HBAR is at 18 at 24 cents. Litecoin number 19 at $117. And you can just see it number 23, Shiba Inu, Shibas. We're moving on to the spot exchanges. You can see Binance Chain has done the most in the last 24 hours. It's ranked number 1, and that is in your billions. 38 billion has transacted on that chain. Bybit, Coinbase, Upbit, all the ones that are following that. But Binance. And so there's some decentralized, and these are decentralized exchanges. They're showing PancakeSwap, which coincides with Binance. So that's a decentralized exchange. Then you have the Uniswap, which is on Ethereum. There's this Ocker curve Ethereum rating, but you can see Ethereum and BNB. 2 major players at the moment. Unfortunately, on this decentralized, you don't see any of the decentralization from PulseChain. So on www.pulsechain.com, it's a recent layer 1. It's been out for a while now, over a year, and they have their own decentralized exchange, which is called PulseX. On the website, you can see pulsex.com. Stacks token launcher, so if you want to create your own token crypto, and also if you want to buy, if you want to trade now, you go here, and this is showing their top tokens on their decentralized exchange on the layer 1 of PulseChain. So on PulseChain at the moment, Pulse has done the most volume of 4.9 million. DAI stablecoin is number 2, it's done 3.8 million. So correction on DAI stablecoin is ranked number 2 at 1.38 million. Wrapped Ethereum from the Ethereum network on the Pulse chain, that's done 831,000, and PulseX as the exchange has done 694,000. All right, so progressing, there's wonderful Hex. Let's look at crypto bubbles. All right, so for the weekly, what has been a strong play as well? It seems like everything has had a good old go. And that's for the daily. We're looking at the weekly. So what do we have as the major players? As you can see, there's Cake. We just talked about that. There's Ada, Pendle, BNB, AVAX, VET, Litecoin. It's just a sea of green bubbles at the moment. Solana, Ethereum, Sui, Doge, BTC, Bitcoin here, Pepe, Meme Coin, XLM, Monaro. What else can we see? Uni, it's down a bit, 2%. That's the top 100. Let's look at the top 200. There you go, Hex, 58% last week. EHEX, it means it's the hex on the Ethereum network. That's why they call it EHEX. And the hex on the PulseChain network is just hex. So there's PulseChain over there. What can we see here? That's about it for now. Okay, let's look over on Dex Scanner and see what the top movers are. Base has had some moving at the moment. And so you can see the main ones, Pendle, Gala, Sui. Let's look at the graphs. Progressing down. Watching the bonds. American bonds have evened out a bit now, but they're progressing upwards. Australian bonds evened out. No, 5 years higher than 15 yearly. Still some concerns about Australia in the long term. Short to medium long term. A lot of these I'm not going to just go through. Try and keep this video short, concise. Let's look at the gold price. Look at it, it's just shooting off. So why would you hold gold? This is the reason why you hold your gold. Gold is a store of value. Gold's going up. The worth of your Australian currency is going down. This is why you should have it. This is what it's been doing since January 2024. It's gone up from, what is it, a low of $1,800 all the way up to, and this is American, 3,600, 3,700 odd. So you see that's a rising channel on the daily, and we're just waiting to see what's going on here. It's going to break out or down, but most likely it's just going to carry on because we keep, especially in Australia, that's what Australia's worth per ounce, 5,000. It's just dropped down, but it's $5,508. So you can just see that's how much the Australian dollar's worth compared to American. Do you get what I'm saying now? Keep injecting money into the economy, or your tax dollars, to the housing Ponzi scheme, and this is what you get. Look at platinum. How's platinum doing? Interesting. It's in a wedge. See, it's breaking out just above the wedge, and we'll see if it carries on. Look at the gold to silver ratio. It has dropped down, so that means silver, but it's now into a wedge, so we'll see what's happening. We're just going to go drop down that wedge, most likely it will, but the gold price is still going up, so it means silver is going to increase significantly. We'll see how that wedge goes. This is American silver price, and that's currently at $42 an ounce. That's dropped a little bit from $43 an ounce, and Australian silver per ounce is at $63. All right. And if you want to get a bit of idea of what's going on the top of market, so including Bitcoin, it's still progressing upwards at this present time. So it means a lot of finance is still going into the crypto market. It hasn't stopped. Got some good shares. Interesting shares at the moment, some possibly gold miners. Was an interesting one at the moment to look at. This one here, platinum. BAU, look at this. It is just shot off. completely undervalued. What's that as a gain? 83%. Still some gains to be made in the share market on the right choices. All right, some other ones there, but we want to talk about those. Let's look at Bitcoin. So is Bitcoin? Is this the end of the Bitcoin rally? Let's see. But it is looking healthy there. We'll see this is going to bridge out of the penis, the head and shoulders. If not, so it needs to break above this one, but we'll see what happens. And then you can do the comparison between the Bitcoin Ethereum ratio, and that's sort of holding steady at the moment. It's in a bit of a wedge. So we'll see if that's going to continue to go down, or is it going to go up? Either way, the Ethereum and Bitcoin price is going up. So let's talk about sort of market share. And look, Ethereum is looking very healthy to head on up. So looks like it's still very much into alt season, alternative, which means Bitcoin's a major and everything else is the alternative altcoins. Binance, look at that. Catch you later. XRP. Breaking up on that wedge. It's looking positive. Let's see what Hex is doing. Oh, mate. Thank you very much. Look how good that looks. Broken above that channel. And it's heading towards the other resistances. So you can see it's yellow line I put in. Boom. It's just broken above that major resistance. Now we're onto the white one. So let's see what's that gains, how many days that is. So if you're in Hex now, you're doing very well. From that candlestick of a low to the high in 12 days, 133%. So there's a big push at the moment. And there's a bloke called Richard Hart. And you can see the previous head and shoulders. So we'll see. This is the channel. We'll see if it gets above this head and shoulders and it carry on through. The estimate for this one is $3. Let's see if it gets there. And there's a few other ones, but that's about it. And there's a funny video to end on, and then clearing the mind. But mainly, what I can say to you guys is, guys and girls, distraction. There's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of turning ethnicities and races against each other. There is a lot of polarizations and the loss of communities. And just take a moment, because it's at all forms and all angles. The best thing you can do, from what I feel, is have a clear mind, continue to educate yourself, have some safeguarding precious metals and crypto, and maybe some cash on hand. Don't take yourself to the major debts. I'm not a financial advisor, and you've got to read the disclaimers. I'm just, from what I can see in the markets, this is what I'm telling in. Prepare yourself. It's always good to be prepared, though. You should always have a nest egg, just in case you get sick or unwell. So yeah, stay strong, clear the mind, and try and avoid all the craziness.
It's cold. How did that burn up?
This don't make the air cold or hot. It turns the blower motor.
Why wasn't the cool air just blowing on it so it didn't get hot?
We don't air condition wires. We air condition people.
One of my favorites since I was a boy at school. My father read it to me once. The Kipling poem. It's one of my favorites since I was a boy at school. My father read it to me once. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. The Kipling poem.
All right, everyone. Spittin Chips. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Keep a clear mind. Take it easy.